everybody. Welcome to Katie in the Morning. I'm Katie Page, Director of Member Relations at the National Association of Healthcare Assistants. One of the things I want to talk about today, this week on Katie in the Morning, is protecting your moneymaker in the cold weather. I'm not talking about the moneymaker in the club. I'm talking about the moneymaker in the care, your hands. They play a huge role. Some of those CNAs out there with arthritis can definitely vouch for me here. In our everyday care, what we're doing for others, what we're doing for ourselves, our hands are vitally important to everything that we do. So when the cold weather starts to turn, one of the things I notice being a CNA for going on 16 years now is we are constantly washing our hands, and it does damage, going in and out of the building, running people out to the transport van. So I want to bring you guys a few tips today on how to protect your hands from that cold weather. The first one is to moisturize more. As the weather conditions change, so too should your skincare routine. Find an ointment moisturizer that is oil-based rather than water-based. Hint, many lotions labeled as night creams are oil-based. One of the things you might want to think about doing is setting up like a routine. A lot of us use lotion before our shift or after our shift, but maybe we want to add a few more times in our regular routine. Put lotion on our hands in the morning when we wake up. When we wash our hands, we're getting our scrubs on to get ready for work. During our shift, at the end of our shift, and then at night before you go to bed is definitely one of the options that you have that is probably up on the higher priority list when it comes to moisturizing and keeping that moisture in your hands. We all know how it feels when the tips of your fingers start to crack. You get the chaps in between your fingers, down in these little crevices here, and once they are there, they are hard to get rid of, and they hurt. And we definitely all know how that sanitizer feels once it hits those cracks. So the second tip about keeping your hands healthy during the cold season is to slather on some sunscreen. And this one I never thought about until I came across it. Winter sun combined with snow glare can still damage your skin. Try to apply a broad spectrum of sunscreen to your face and your hands about 30 minutes before going outside. Reapply frequently if you stay outside for a long time. And I don't know why I didn't think about this before, but we all know that morning glare off the sun when the sun's rising, it's like bouncing off the snow, and a lot of times when you're driving you can't even see because it's so bright outside. So imagine the effects. If it has that big of effect on our eyes, imagine what the effects that it has on our skin as well. So that's my second tip for you guys, is to kind of slather on that sunscreen and keep your skin protected in many different ways. The third one is to give your hands a hand. The skin on your hands is thinner than on most parts of your body and has fewer oil glands. It's harder to keep your hands moist, especially in the cold, dry weather. It can lead to the itchiness and the cracking. Wear gloves when you go outside. If you need to wear wool gloves to keep your hands warm, slip on a thin cotton pair of gloves first to avoid the irritation. And that one, I use wool gloves in the winter, and I have that problem, especially around the wrists where your bones kind of stick out, where the wool gloves rub against between my skin when it kind of does that, what's it called? Friction. There we go. With the cuff of my coat. So I always end up with like a little chap mark on both of my wrists here and here. So I'm definitely going to try that tip this year. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about a few more tips for your hands during the winter season.
Watch Grassroots Advocacy with Jeff Wellman. Thursdays at 2:30 Central on CNA TV.
Welcome back to Katie in the Morning. Today we're talking about winter hand care. I brought a few tips to you guys. I have a couple more for you before I let you go and get on your way for the rest of the week. The next tip that I have for you guys is to hook up a humidifier. Central heating systems as well as space heaters blast a hot air throughout the home and offices. Humidifiers get more moisture into the air, which helps prevent your skin from drying out. Place several small humidifiers throughout your home. They help disperse the moisture even more evenly. And this is another thing that I didn't really think about, but the condition of the air that you're inhaling, there's different ways to consume moisture. There's absorption, there's consumption, there's of course intravenous. We all know how that goes. When you get dehydrated, you have to go to the hospital and get them stickers stuck in your arms. I hate that. I always tell the doctor when I go in dehydrated, I promise I will go home and drink 2 gallons of water. Just don't stick that needle in my arm. But this is a way to prevent that from happening when you start to feel a little dehydrated. And one of the other things I also read, which I might have included on a next slide, so I'm not going to spoil it, is that, oh no, I didn't include it. Your skin doesn't actually reflect your level of hydration. A lot of people think it does. You know, if your skin stays up, then you're dehydrated. That is actually a myth. Your dehydration level doesn't come from your skin. And I forget who said that. You guys can look on WebMD. This is where I found all this information, but there was a dermatologist who said that it does not actually reflect your level of hydration. Your skin does not. So my next tip for you guys when it comes to good hand care during the winter is to avoid wet gloves. This is a hard one for everybody, especially when the snow and the ice start to come. You're out there scraping your windows, and then it hits your warm skin and it melts right away and makes your gloves all wet. But wet gloves, these can irritate your skin and cause itching, cracking, sores, or even flare up eczema. That's something we really don't think about during the winter time either, is eczema, but it can definitely cause quite a few troubles with your hands and your skin, period. And then finally, when it comes to hand hydration and hand care, is turn down the heat. Lisa Sweet actually mentioned this last year on the NACA break room, but intense heat while continually washing actually breaks down the liquid barriers in your skin, which can lead to a loss of moisture. You're better off with just lukewarm water. And the thing about the washing the hands is we've been told for years and years and years and years, wash your hands with hot water and soap. Well, it's actually the soap that does all the killing of the bacteria and viruses and everything. It's not the hot water. So give your hands a break, tune down that temperature a little bit, take care of yourself, because it is definitely easier to prevent from these cracks and these injuries from happening than it is to treat them after they've happened. I have one more point for you guys, or one little tip for you guys before I let you guys go. If you do start to get those cracked crevices in your fingers and in between in the little crevices in your fingers here, one of the things that seems to work very, very well for me besides Neosporin is actually Carmex, the chapstick. We've all seen what it can do for our lips when they're dried and cracked. Imagine what it can do for our hands as well. I thank you guys all for joining me today, and I will see you next time on Katie in the Morning.